Good lord, Sersi, girl. I ain't never seen a pair of snappers like that before. You must have the biggest hands I ever seen on a woman. What do you say you push on over to Daddy Godzillanator and we could take a closer look at those paws, huh? Yo, guys, check it out. Look what we got. We got the April update, key art. Let's check it out. Let's jump into it. Greetings, agents. CM Fragment. From superheroes turned villains to the Lord of the Underworld, we celebrate the Marvel Universe this April update, which will be filled with various changes, as well as the Marvel Future Fight 6-year anniversary. Yes, we've all been waiting for it. Check out the heroes and villains that will lead the celebration of our special anniversary. And check it out. Look, yo, we got the Maker. He's got that sinister grin on his face. He's looking nice. He's looking nice. And of course, we got Professor X. You will subscribe and like the video. Did it work? Man, I think I just need some more practice with that. And now we got Superior Iron Man with the Endo Sim. He's looking like he's ready to jump into some action. I can feel it. And you better believe we're gonna take him into some action. We are currently working hard on the update to keep up with the big changes, so please stay tuned. And you better believe we're gonna stay tuned. We're gonna be catching that. That live stream. I kind of wish I was already, kind of in motion with the live streams. Like if I had already done a live stream, I would perhaps try to live stream the live stream. But I haven't yet. I do plan on getting to it. Soon. Okay, so that's for that. Now let's jump into the video, guys. I have to come back to this. I gotta come back to it because I have to say that I'm pretty hyped for this. I am. I don't know about you. Let me know if you're hyped for this. I don't think I've ever been so hyped for an update. And I have to say, they do it, and they do it really, really well, right? They got us by the kahunas, getting us all hyped up, hot and bothered for the update. Okay, all right. Now I'm moving on, but they look pretty amazing. They look amazing. I'm loving this key art. It's looking good, looking nice. All right. Let's talk about what you really came for now. CTP, kind of like a CTP guide. That's basically what this is. All these characters here that I have starred. I can't do every single one of them. I'll probably do like a part 2 of this video and get all the ones that I didn't cover in this one. But it's going to basically be top CTPs for all these characters. Now, we first have to establish if you have Pierce on cards. 5% seems to be the number where Rage's value starts declining, and the value of energies and judgments starts increasing. So more and more accounts I'm seeing with more and more Pierce, right? As time goes on, you're probably you're going hard after Pierce. That's like the number one thing you're going after, right? Besides like building characters, you're trying to get more Pierce on cards. So you definitely have to take that into consideration. And after 5%, it seems to kind of get worse and worse, or the divide seems to be greater and greater. All right, so now that we established that, let's go right down the line here. Null. All right, so Null, energy. Even if you don't have any Pierce on cards, energy seems to work best for him for all game modes except ABX, right? Obviously for PvE content. And I have a Rage on him currently because I do use him for ABX. Otherwise, I would have an energy on him 100%. And then for PvP, I've seen people put greed on him, but if you want his survivability to be at his absolute best, you're going to want to put a Regen on him, and I would think that Regen is going to work better than greed in most cases. All right, now our boy Sentry, our next native tier 3, and we're getting another one, guys. We're getting another one. I can't wait to test that man out. Okay, so Sentry, even without Pierce on cards, he's another one that energy works better for him. Rage, I would not put a Rage on this guy, no way. But most people do have him built for PvP because he is just an absolute PvP monster, right? So Regen, I'm finding more and more accounts have Regen on their Sentry, but I like him with this energy. He still gets PvP content done for me. He wins, like most timeline battles, Alliance Conquest, Alliance Tournament. He still does really well for me, and so I like him where I have him. Okay, Scarlet Witch. Okay, now she's one that her time, right, doing the quick and dirty, right? If you never watch this channel, the quick and dirty is going into Null or Mephisto and just getting them down. So Null is 60 to 30, and then Mephisto is getting down, not the brick bar phase, but the phase after, the phase right before he turns into a serpent. And for Null, she was 35 seconds faster when I swapped Rage to this Judgment. And yeah, that's got to say something. So she actually became a usable character. Like I could clear Null content. And this was stage 25. She could clear 25 with this Judgment. It was with double support. I believe it was with Valkyrie and Storm. But she could do it. And that's a pretty high stage. Okay. But for PV, okay. So for PvP, most characters, it's going to be a regen. It's going to be a regen if you want to perform their absolute best in PvP, or in some cases, greed. And it's pretty much out of those two. And I'll tell you when and if it is greed. Okay, Quicksilver. Actually, he's one that greed seems to work really, really well on him for PvP. I would say that might even be the top choice for PvP. But I have energy on him. Okay, he's kind of funky to play with energy. Energy is better than Rage. His time definitely improved vastly, but he's kind of funky to play. It's tricky to keep the proc consistent. I could see with enough practice you can get really good at it and keep the proc in most cases, but you know, it's just a little tricky. And you know, Rage isn't, you know, bad on him, especially if you don't have Pierce. Rage is probably, you know, might be the way to go, just because unless you want to you know, get a whole lot of, you know, runtime with this guy in. But energy seems to be, you know, a bit better than Rage. But greed's really good for PvP. And kind of the same with Dormammu. Greed does work on him, but regen is going to be the best. It's just like his survivability, you know, and that's the thing. PvP it's a battle of just who can survive longer, basically. And you know, that's why regen does so well on most characters, unless like it's like a Jean Grey, where their survivability, they have so many things in their kit which, you know, enables, you know, them to, you know, to keep them alive, that they don't necessarily need the additional support from the regen. So that's kind of the situation with him. All right, and he's another character where his time vastly improved. Actually, 35 seconds. This was stage 14 though for Null. It improved that much by swapping Rage for Judgment, and Judgment seems to do really well on him, even better for like Alliance Conquest. He's an absolute monster for Alliance Conquest. Honestly, he can take out like any character for Alliance Conquest. It's like one of my go-to teams. It's him, Apocalypse, and Wasp. So I use his lead, right? Especially like hero, like if it's a Sentry. So okay, I took down a Sentry, Jean, and Hulk team with Dormammu, Apocalypse, and Wasp, and they took it down rather easily. And I have a PvE build on all of them except Wasp. So that, you know, that's got to say something. And yeah, like I said, his time improved. It shot up when I swapped Judgment on him. All right, Molecule Man. Okay, there's only one CTP for this guy, and it's a regen. Do not build this guy for PvE. Do not put a Rage on him. Don't put an energy on him. I made an hour and 10 minute long video doing all that, and he did nothing. He did nothing for PvE. So it's regen all the way, and he's really good with the regen. Very good. I came across Molecule Mans with authority, and they just don't do all that well. I would not put authority on them. Okay, Odin. In my opinion, there's only one CTP for this guy, and it's a Rage. Even though Rage is valued, you know, is decreasing, he can't work with anything else. Energy just doesn't. He just can't do it. Can't do it the way the character is designed. It just does not work for this guy. Rage is the way to go. I mean, unless you're really hard after PvP and you love like Alliance Conquest, sure, but his value is just too good for PvE. Even if, like I said, you know, you have Pierce on cards, and that's the only choice for me, in my opinion, is a Rage for this guy. All right, next up, okay, we have Apocalypse, Judgment all the way. You know, right now he's meta for ABX. That might change though. And his score increased by 300,000 points on my account when I swapped Rage to Judgment for ABX, and his time was a minute and 2 seconds faster for Mephisto. A minute and 2 seconds. Amazing. So he, like him and Rogue, are characters where Judgment just, it works better than Rage no matter what. Pierce or no Pierce. And especially for ABX. That's kind of like the true test. If it works better for ABX, then you know that you know it's just better for the character. But if you want him to perform really well, you know, for PvP, it's gonna be a Regen. It's gonna be a Regen. All right. Now next up. Okay, so Cable. All right, so he's a character that okay, so for ABX, if he can actually work with a Rage. He can work with a Rage, but with not this uniform, not Summer Days, but with this uniform and SFX on, he can score almost as much with a Brilliant. Or I should say he can score more with a Rage with this uniform and SFX on than he can with a Mighty Energy. But, you know, obviously for other content, if you have Pierce, he's not going to perform as well. And he's a very, very good character. I love Cable. He's just a monster for all PvE content. I would not build this guy for PvP. No way, no how. His value for PvE is just way too much. You know, just all the ABX days and just, you know, World Boss Legend, Danger Room Extreme, GBR. You know, he's just like he's like the one-shot king, right? Moonstone's the one-shot queen. He's the one-shot king. All right, moving on here. Okay, Jean Grey. Okay, so she's a character that Greed basically trumps everything. Greed trumps everything. I would not build her for PvE, but if I did have to build her for PvE, I have to imagine that she actually would work really well with the Judgment. If you know, especially if you have Pierce on cards. I actually wanted to do this testing where, you know, I tested her out with the Judgment and seen, you know, how far she can go, like in PvE, you know, World Boss Legend. I haven't got around to that yet, but I have to imagine that she would work really well with the Judgment if you did not need her for PvP. But she works very well with the Greed. I've seen, you know, heavily PvP accounts put a Mighty Regen on her, or some even a Brilliant, even a Brilliant. But I think Greed works just fine on her, and that's how I would build her. All right, moving on here. Okay, Doctor Strange. There's only one CTP for this guy, and it's a Rage. Well, for PvE content, and for PvP, I guess Authority works really well on this guy for PvP. If you didn't need him for PvE, which not many accounts actually need this guy for PvE anymore. I don't think he's all that good for PvE, especially because he can only perform with a Rage for PvP. He does not do well with an energy. As a matter of fact, somebody told me they're friends with the person who has a Brilliant on this guy, a Brilliant energy, and he just doesn't do that well, even with the Brilliant energy. So there's that. Okay, moving on. Cyclops. In my opinion, there's only one CTP for this guy, and it's an Insight. Insight works very, very well on this guy. He is used for ABX though, like you can swap him and Moonstone out. So for 1 month, I'll put a Rage on him. But Insight just works so well on him. He just doesn't cut it for PvE. He's not strong, and but he's a very, very good lead/support. And then with an Insight as well, you know, just add an insult to injury there. So that's the route that I would take with him. Okay, Rogue, Judgment. Don't build her any other way. Give this chick a Judgment, man. She is a Mephisto killer. She rocks it for Mephisto. She clears stage 30 for me, and that's a very high stage, and she does it with like a minute left. She does it with ease. Her survivability is absolutely insane, and her damage is just very good. And she has so many iframes, and she's a blessing to the game, and she got justice. I'll say that much, and I would give her a Judgment with or without Pierce. I'm not even going to talk about a PvP for this chick, just because she's so valuable for PvE. Okay, Sharon Rodgers. Now, before I had Pierce, I had a Rage on her. I had a Rage on her, and she performed very well with the Rage. I actually never tested her with an energy, but I was outperforming other Sharon Rodgers that had energy. But most accounts do have Pierce, and I actually just took my Brilliant that I had on her, and I had to put it on Moonstone because I'm just now, actually today, it'll be the first day that I attempt stage 40. So I'm not even sure if I can get it done with Moonstone, but I did put the Brilliant on her. But she's such a monster. She is basically the reason why I'm actually even at stage 40 right now. If it wasn't for her, I would not be there. Her survivability is very good for Mephisto. I mean, you have to play her right. So it could be a little finicky, but she can get it done 100%. You just got to get some practice runs in. And energy is the way to go. Don't even build her for PvP. You're wasting a monster of a character for PvE. I think most of us know just how good she is, and if, like, I don't know, you're a newer account or you don't know how good she is, yeah, you're sleeping on her, and you better get her and throw an energy on her 100%. All right, next up here we have Miss Black Widow with the bite. Okay, so she is very good for PvP. Like even now, like in like Battle World, right? You can, like, female. Black Widow is a very good choice to have on your team. Black Widow is a very good choice. So, you know, she does have some value. You wouldn't really take her in the timeline anymore, right? So like AC, you know, sometimes it's kind of hit or miss. Like, you know, it seems like her and Yelena, if all the other characters die, especially Yelena, actually, they can take out the whole team if everybody else dies, because the characters are not attacking, and, you know, they're using, you know, their skills where they're an iframe and they're penetrating iframe ignore. But okay, so I have an energy on her. If you didn't catch it, I did that video just recently. Right, if you press the right buttons, insane damage for Black Widow. Her rotation is kind of a little, you know, it's kind of out of the box, and it's very tight. But she can work. She could work really well for you know, PvE. She's not going to clear the highest content for you, but she can get it done. And you know, now, you know, she's speed, so she has the type advantage for Mephisto. You wouldn't want to use this uniform though. You'd want to use her black uniform. But if not in energy, and she can actually still perform in PvP with an energy, but greed is really good for her. If not greed, then regen. You know, it's kind of king, right? You got rage, and, well, not rage anymore, but regen is king for PvP in most cases. And it seems like, you know, energy or judgment, if you have pierce, is gonna be the way to go. Sometimes rage. All right. Yeah, I wouldn't put rage on Black Widow. I just wouldn't. Okay. Mr. Daredevil. Okay, so I tried him out with energy, right, when he first you know, got this uniform, and he just was not cutting it for me. He just wasn't doing all that well. I guess rage is better for him, but if you have pierce on cards, we all know what happens to rage. So I built this guy for PvP, and he's really good for PvP. He is a PvP monster, as most of us know, I would imagine. And he's part of my timeline team. He's part of, like, the AC team, Alliance Tournament team. He does really well. So I would give this guy a regen. Regen would be my top pick for this guy. But if not regen, then, you know, it's kind of split between rage and energies, just because rage works much better for him, right? Just because of the way the character is designed. But, you know, if you have pierce, then the value decreases, and energy probably, you know, takes the crown at that point for PvE. But you know, he kind of has a funky rotation as well. It's very tight, and, you know, you would need some practice with him, I would imagine. But, you know, you can get it done. But the thing is this: there's much better choices for PvE content. I would go PvP on this guy 100%. He's a PvP guy. Okay, Luna Snow. Now, again, I just did testing with her between rage and judgment. I did put rage back on her just for ABX, right? She's an ABX character, but judgment scores about, on my account, 300,000 points less. But she is 40 seconds faster for Mephisto. So, you know, if you need another Mephisto clear, then judgment could be the way to go. If you're not trying to score the most amount of points in ABX, she could totally still get over 7 million points. I mean, she scores crazy high. Like almost 10 million points for me. I'm sure I could probably score 10 million with her. Maybe. I'm not sure. I think I scored 9.8. 9.8 with her. So if I wanted to run more and you know, just do more runs, I'm sure I can get very close to that. Okay, and then for PvP, no bueno. Do not build this chick for PvP. Her PvE value definitely has dropped, but she's still meta for ABX. So you still kind of need her for that. I mean, unless you're using Rogue, and again, if you don't care about scoring the max amount of points, you can get it done with Rogue. But you know, she's still not good for PvP regardless. Even if you maxed her out with a maxed out PvP build, she's not going to get it done for you. Okay, Black Bolt. Now, if you caught it, it was a stacked bolt video, right? He did very well with this energy here. Very well. And he outperformed his Rage by 35 seconds for Null. I believe it was stage 14, I want to say. And for Mephisto as well. Actually, no, I didn't check the time for Mephisto, but I know it was much faster for Mephisto. So yeah, the quick and dirty, 35 seconds easy for Null with this energy, and his rotation is very simple. He's very easy to play. He's fun to play too. I really like. I enjoy Black Bolt. I was really hoping he was gonna you know possibly get something, you know, with the Illuminati update, but. I don't know. This uniform is still pretty good. Still pretty good for him. For PvP, honestly, I have not seen or heard anything that would say that this guy is, you know, worked for any PvP content. You know, maybe some niche AC stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't take that route with him. Energy would be my top pick for him. And then Rage, I don't know. If you have Pierce, it kind of doesn't make him. It kind of brings no value to the character. Like, he can't get much content done for you. Okay, Captain Marvel is going to be either Rage or Destruction. So if you want her for ABX, and right now she is ABX meta, right? She's got 1 day universal female hero. Her and Medusa, they tag team, they team up on some seasons. But Rage is the way to go. She's not going. Don't expect her to clear any world boss legend for you. That's just me and my opinion, especially with all the other characters in the game. But Destruction, if you want her to do some AC work for you, let me know if anybody still uses her or tries to use her for Timeline, because I know she was meta for a time. And I had to make a decision. I had Destruction on her at one point because she has no penetration. So, and she's actually not that bad for PvP. Okay, moving on. Ghost Rider. Okay, so Ghost Rider, he's another character that just, his time skyrocketed when I threw a Judgment on him. When I swapped this Rage for a Judgment, his time just, like, it was like 45 seconds faster doing the quick and dirty for Null. It was absolutely amazing, and I wish he was not used for ABX so I could throw a Judgment back on him, because his damage is just absolutely insane. So for, you know, if you have Pierce and you don't care about maxing out your score for ABX, Judgment is 100% the way to go. But if you don't have Pierce, then Rage is going to be the way to go, and you're going to score more for ABX as well. Don't even give this guy any other build. In my opinion, those are the only two CTPs for him. Don't give him anything else. You'd be doing yourself a disservice if you try to give him a PvP build. So I'm not even going to talk about it. And then Loki. Really, there's only one CTP for him too, and it's Rage, because, you know, he's so good for ABX. Rage would be the way to go, especially if you want to use Null for other content. You know, you want to throw an energy on him, or you want to throw a regen on him, or even a greed. Rage would be the way to go for Loki. I haven't seen or heard him doing any real work in PvP, but if I had to give him a PvP build, it would be a regen. Then that's what it would be. I mean, he does get some cheeky stuff in Alliance Conquest. Like, he seems to stay alive longer than other PvE build characters. All right, Beta Ray Bill. Okay, with or without Pierce, an energy is going to be the way to go. Second best would be a Judgment, and then after Judgment would be a Rage. Don't even try to give this guy a PvP build. Again, he's a PvE character, but I've heard and seen like double lightning damage 200 procs actually working pretty well on this guy. So he could perform with that, but energy would be the absolute top choice for him. And then, like I said, judgment in a second. Okay, Luke Cage. Now, Luke Cage surprised me on both ends. Man, this guy is just, he's awesome. I love Luke Cage. He's probably one of my favorite characters to play in this game right now. For PvE, so for PvE, when I took him in, when I did testing, I tested him in Iron Fist. And this guy basically he didn't have these 6-star regular attack Uru here. And he had an energy on. And he did have an attack ISO 8 set. But he basically matched Iron Fist for null, and then he outperformed Iron Fist for Mephisto, and this is the build that Iron Fist had. So honestly, I think he can be better for PvE content than Iron Fist. If you wanted to, I would give him an energy worked really well for him. But he's like Sharon Rodgers. You gotta accumulate the damage, right? So you gotta get used to his playstyle. You can't just go in and face tank and do all that. But his value for PvP is just so insane that, you'd be foolish not to put anything on him but a regen. So it is kind of tough. It's kind of tough. I wish, I could throw an energy on him, but I just can't, just because he's so good for PvP. So it's either regen or energy, in my opinion, for this guy. I wouldn't give him anything else. All right, Moon Knight. Okay, so with or without Pierce, it's going to be an energy. Energy, I've heard some people say that Rage outperforms energy, but I don't know. I have to imagine that the people that are saying that aren't playing him right, aren't popping his rotation in the right way, because so many people said that energy is just much faster, like I said, with or without Pierce. And for me, when I swapped Rage for energy, because I wasn't even using Moon Knight, I thought he was a bad character for World Boss, and then I put an energy on him, and he instantly became one of the best characters for null. Like it was like insane. It was like a minute faster. He was doing the quick and dirty, and that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. Yeah, and he's used for ABX. Well, if you don't have Venom, built up. So, and I wouldn't give him a PvP build. No, it would either be like energy or Rage, or energy in my opinion. But I guess Rage, sure. If you don't have Pierce, and then maybe he can still get some stuff done for you. Okay, Valkyrie. So really, Rage is the way to go for her. Or if you don't care that much for ABX, then you can give her an Insight. I'd say either Rage or Insight for Valkyrie, just because of support, right? But she's still not a bad standalone character. So, but she can't work with an energy, and I haven't seen any PvP content using Valkyrie other than a support, and that would be it. So Rage or Insight for Valkyrie, in my opinion. And then Bullseye. There's only one CTP for him too, and it's Rage. Thing is this, for PvP, right? If you didn't care about ABX or squad battle for this guy, he has immunity for 4 seconds on his 1, and I'm pretty sure that's it actually. Okay, 100% chance of missing an attack for 2 seconds. But it's just for 2 seconds. I don't know how useful that is actually in PvP. But yeah, that's it. He has no other immunity or invincibility on any skills. Besides his 6, right? He's got some stuff on his 6. And that's it. And he's got some iframes, but they're just I can't see him doing any work in PvP. I just can't. So Rage would be the way to go, and he cannot work with an energy. No way, Jose. And I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. We got, how many characters is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. We knocked out 26. We'll have to get to the rest. Yeah, it'll be like a 2-parter, right? And I'll do like another 26 characters, so 52 characters. So we'll split it, because this video is already running pretty long here. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that probably answers some questions for you. Just breaking down my experience with all these guys and telling you what's best for who. All right, guys, and I have some more coming for you, and I'm stoked for that live stream, guys. I'm pretty hyped for this update. It's right here. It's like it's upon us. It's upon us, and I'm guessing, right, 6 year anniversary update, that they got some surprises in store for us. They're gonna shake and bake like Ricky Bobby and you know, blow us away. They said it in the note, right? Did they or did they not say in the note that, you know, there's high expectations to be met? So I'm pretty excited about it. I am. I don't know, you guys. You know, I've been in a good mood for the past couple days. I had some things go. You know, it's going pretty well for me. So, guys, you stay tuned. You stay breezy, but most of all, friend, you stay safe out there now. Peace.